Now I'm going to share with you my Auntie Veronique's secret vanilla custard cake. It's genius, and the reason it's genius is because you get 3 amazing layers out of this cake with 1 batter. I'm going to change it up a little bit by adding raspberries. It really makes this quite special. First up, we need 4 eggs. Now I'm going to separate the eggs. So we want whites in one bowl, and the best way to separate your eggs is just to use your hand as a little filter, so we don't get any of the egg whites in with the yolks. We'll add that to a separate bowl over here, and then we'll continue breaking them. So this cake is all about timing in the oven and the way the batter is made. So we're adding egg whites at the end, and that's going to keep it really light and fluffy. The egg yolk custard is going to make it quite rich and keep the moistness in the centre. So it's very special. I don't know how she's developed it, but I'm going to use it as my own now. So the 3rd egg can go in. Straining it through my fingers. 4th egg, strain that, and then we'll pop that into the bowl. Now we need to get on with the base of the custard. So cast sugar can go in with the egg yolks, and now the zest of 1 lemon. The lemon zest goes so nicely with the raspberries, so I want a good hit of the zest. Now I'll grab a whisk, and I'm going to whisk this until it's thick and fluffy and pale in colour. Now in this pot over here I have some milk and 2 vanilla pods that I've scraped. I've allowed it to boil and then cooled completely. The reason I do this is because I want that milk to absorb all of the vanilla flavour, and I don't want to add hot milk to this custard. So it's a little different to the traditional. You can see how that's becoming thick and pale. That's what we're looking for. And now we can add our milk. So it's cooled down, but we do still have our vanilla beans in the milk. We don't want them in there, so I'm just going to use a strainer to strain that milk straight over the eggs. Okay. Now I'll just mix this to incorporate it. Now it looks really liquidy at the moment, but don't worry, I'm going to add some dry ingredients soon. Before that, some butter. This is melted butter that I've also cooled. Whenever you're making any cake, you want everything to be around the same temperature so nothing seizes or curdles. So the butter goes in. And now for the flour, plain flour, and you'll need 1 cup of flour. You don't need to sift it. Auntie Vero doesn't sift it, she just pops it straight in there, but just constantly mix it so we don't get any lumps. Now it's thickened up, but it's about the consistency of crepe batter. We want it to be like this so we achieve those layers, the cake layer, the custard layer, and the pastry-like layer. A pinch of salt now. Always when baking, a pinch of salt to bring out the flavours of the vanilla. And we'll pop that to one side now while we whisk our egg whites. These egg whites need to be peaks, and then I'm going to gently fold them through the wet mixture. Okay, that is done. I've done my workout for the day. We've got stiff peaks, and now we're going to fold them together. Before I do that, I just want to prepare the base of my 22 centimetre springform tin. I've just greased it with a little butter, and I've placed a piece of baking paper into the springform tin. I also like to place this into a tray just in case there's some slight spillage when it does start to cook. Now for the raspberries, fresh plump raspberries, 1 punnet, so 125 grams, and then we'll place them into the base of the tin and then just spread them out. And what will happen when you cook this cake is the batter is going to mix in with the raspberries, and the raspberries will actually rise to the centre of it. It's very interesting. Okay, now to fold these together, I'll use a spatula, and we'll add 1/3 of the egg whites to the custard batter. And we just want to fold and break those egg whites into the batter. I want to avoid over mixing this. The aim of this is to have little clumps of egg whites throughout this. So just fold and cut gently and take your time doing it. And now for the last 1/3, scrape down the sides and then again folding through. So even just looking at that, you know that this is going to be a really light cake. Now gently pour this mixture over our raspberries. And now with a spatula, I'm just going to spread that out so it's even over the top, and I'll get this into the oven, 160 degrees for about 1 hour. Now the cake has come out of the oven. I've allowed it to cool completely in the tin, and I've also placed it in the fridge. I like to serve it really cold. Now I'll just carefully take the collar off the cake. Dun, dun, dun. And that's what we're looking for. Now this will all make sense to you. See how we've got cake and a fine crumb at the top. You can see it's quite moist in the centre, and the raspberries have lifted to the centre also. And then it's almost like pastry down the bottom. Told you, it's like a magic cake, Vero's magic cake. Now I'm going to take it off the base and just use a palette knife to get under there. Take it off. And then just cut a nice generous piece. And now lift the cake up. Look at that. I love this cake. I can't tell you how excited I am to share this with you. The cake and the moistness in the centre and the raspberries. It just looks so good with that pop of colour. I love this cake. Onto a plate to make it look extra special. A little sprinkle of icing sugar. All right, I'm going to have a taste of this. Straight down the centre, that's my favourite part. Now, my Auntie Vero doesn't speak English, she only speaks French. But if she was here, I would say, c'est magnifique. That is the best cake. It is delightful. You're going to love it. Your friends are going to love it. Your family's going to love it. I'm going to have another mouthful. It's that good.